G'day, I'm Dan. This is another video about how the four-wheel drive override system works in my car. The question that gets asked all the time is, I have it mounted on the dash, the ZK-PP2K controller, the little screen that lets me change the percentage of four-wheel drive, but I've also got a switch. In one position, the car's completely standard. You flick the switch, and it's instantly in that override mode. There's no check engine lights or any issues that happen because of it. People want to know how that works and how it's all wired up. So, quick refresher. You've got your four-wheel drive ECU, you've got your diff clutch, they're connected together with a plug. There's two wires coming from the four-wheel drive ECU. It comes in the rear boot of the car. You know, you've got the kick panel, you pull the plastic piece back, there's the jack in there. On the other side there's some wires, a pair of them coming down from the front of the car into a little white plug, and then the two wires go down through a grommet in the floor and they go into the diff clutch at the back of the car. If you were to disconnect that plug just there, so it's not connected, you'd now be in front wheel drive. If you get yourself a 3 ohm 50 watt resistor, 3 ohms, and you connect it back onto the positive and negative going to the four-wheel drive ECU, that puts a load on the four-wheel drive ECU. The car thinks that it's still connected to the diff and you don't get any check engine lights, so just a reminder of that. And if you connect the output wires here, the positive and the negative, straight down into the diff clutch side, the half of that, you unplug it, the bottom half of the loom that goes through the diff clutch, the ZK-PP2K can be used to control the amount of four-wheel drive that you get through its output driving the diff clutch, right? So we'll start with that. So then I've drawn the ZK-PP2K. This I've got mounted flush in the dash next to the steering wheel. It has 12 volts that I've got to go in and an earth to power it, right? So I've taken the 12 volts from the fuse box under the dash with a little, I've got a 5 amp fuse on there. And so that's that comes up here, right? And then the negative just goes to, I think, a ring terminal with a bolt under the dash. So there's your 12 volts into the ZK-PP2K, and then your negative so that it can be powered up. So when you turn the, when you hit the key, this is it's not a constant 12 volts, it's ignition 12 volts. So when you put the ignition on, you get 12 volts out, turns the screen on, good to go. Now, also coming off this 12 volts, I've got this switch here, and the switch that I have is like a rocker style switch. It's got like a big lever on it. You flick it up and down like that. That switch is not an on and off switch, right? It's on in one position, and when you flick it over to the other position, it turns the other circuit on, right? So when you flick the switch up, it turns this circuit on and disconnects this circuit, and when you flick it down, you get 12 volts here and you've got nothing here. That's how that works. So what I've got is we've got ourselves a relay box. I have this thing living in that left rear kick panel in the car. The trigger wires to turn the relays on and off are these two here, comes from this switch, but all the power and earth and everything I get from the battery that I have in the boot from my 12 volt system that runs my fridge. But you can get the 12 volts from anywhere you want as long as you've got 10 amps or whatever available, you'll be fine. So what it has is it's got these 2 relays here, and then you've got 3 relays here. I've used 30 amp waterproof ones because they're cheap and easy on Amazon, and I need this car to be waterproof because I drive it through rivers and stuff. And so here's what happens, right? So this, I might take some of this off. So I've got, the four-wheel drive ECU, diff, clutch, controller plug there, unplugged, right? And you've got your positive wire goes into this relay, your negative wire goes into this relay, and then out the bottom you've got the relays like this, right? So when the switch is in one position, it turns these 2 relays on, so it closes the contacts, and that connects the diff clutch, the pair of diff clutch wires to the four-wheel drive ECU. Literally just the power comes in, when the contacts are closed by flicking the switch, one of these wires, it goes down and it's the trigger wire for both relays. That's how that works. And so when those contacts are closed, it just connects the four-wheel drive ECU with the diff clutch. It's exactly the same as plugging the plug back in, right? So in one position, you get power to these 2 relays and you get no power to these 3 relays. Boom, that just connects you back purely as it's that super simple. Now, this is how the other side of it works. I'm just going to remove some of these wires that I've drawn. Get those out of the way. again, there's your wires to the, to the full drive ECU and down the diff. Now the other position of the switch, when you flick it there, you get 12 volts through the switch, and what happens is it comes down and it triggers all 3 of these relays to close their contacts to turn on. So how those are connected is really simple. This 3 ohm resistor, it's just soldered directly on one of its legs to one of the 2 wires on the four-wheel drive ECU side of the harness, right, and it goes through this relay and then it's connected to the other side. So when you have the position of the switch flicked down that closes the contacts on these 3, when you flick it down, it disconnects these 2, right, and connects these 3. So these become disconnected. That's the same as unplugging this. And then one of the relays just completes the circuit on the 3 ohm resistor so that you don't get any fault codes. So that's really simple. I don't think that's hard to understand. And then here's your 2, your positive and your negative output from your ZK-PP2K controller. These 2 wires go into a relay each like this, and then they're also they're connected down to the diff side. So when you flick it into the four-wheel drive override position on the switch, your 12 volts goes through from the switch down to the 3 trigger wires, to all 3 of them. They're just all connected together in parallel. And then when the contacts close, you get the positive and the negative from the ZK-PP2K connected to the diff clutch side of that plug harness in there. And additionally, this 3 ohm resistor, again, it's connected permanently on one side, and it gets connected and the circuit gets completed to bridge the four-wheel drive ECU through the 3 ohm resistor, gives you your load, prevents any check engine lights, and that's it. Yeah, so in one position, click, these 3 all turn off, totally disconnects this, disconnects the ZK-PP2K from the diff clutch, and these 2 connect together, because they're connected like this, basically, right? And then they go straight down to the diff. So in one position, it just plugs it together. In the other position, contacts open when you flick it up the other way. Contacts open to disconnect these, and then these 3 get connected, completing this circuit and connecting the ZK-PP2K to the diff side. That's it. That's all there is to it. Now, I get asked, how do you have a blinking LED that tells you that you're in override mode? Super easy. Go get yourself a 5mm LED in whatever color you want. If you want a blinking one, ask the electronics store for a blinking one. It'll be like 20 cents. And then all you do is you solder one leg. They have polarity, by the way, and also check your polarity on all this. Solder one leg to whichever position turns your four-wheel drive override on. So it's like that. There's your LED. There's some little fucking blinking light bits on there. And then the other leg, it needs the correct resistor to work on a 12-volt circuit, and then its earth just goes to the same places as the four-wheel drive controller. So when it's up in one position, you just get this circuit here completed, boom, straight through from four-wheel drive to diff clutch via those 2 relays. In the other position, your 12 volts get sent through this blinking light to remind you that you're in override mode, and it also gets sent to these 3 here to complete the PWM controller diff clutch connection and to complete the resistor circuit to stop you getting a check engine light. It's really simple. If you follow that, you understand what it's supposed to do, you'd be able to build this yourself in an afternoon or a day. I bought like a relay box with waterproof relays off Amazon for like $100 or something. The wires that I used to, because there's a bunch of wires that go from the front of the car to the back of the car, I used like a trailer harness with 7 different coloured wires in there, I think. Pretty sure I've got just a 5 amp fuse here or a 10 amp fuse here. These relays are all fused separately because my relay box has fuses in it. And the actual power, the power that, no, actually that's it, yeah. That's it. That's all there is to it. Enjoy, have fun, build your own.